You're listening to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast with Randy Rubenstein, episode 97. My name is Randy Rubenstein, and welcome to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast, where we believe when your thoughts grow, the conversations in your home flow. I'm super excited to dive into today's topic, but before we do, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by the Mastermind Parenting Membership, our exclusive private year-long mastermind. In the mastermind, you're going to find a tribe of smart, determined, and sometimes even slightly rebellious parents who all happen to have something in common. We all have at least one strong-willed kid. We're a group of trailblazers. We believe that everything's figure-outable. We learn how to laugh more and yell way less. We solve problems. We have productive combos instead of lectures that always fall on deaf ears anyway, as you guys know. We're a group of action takers. We don't allow ourselves to stay stuck living in a home that feels like we're walking on eggshells. Life's too short for that. We dig in, we take action, and we figure out what's coming up for us when our kids are pushing our buttons. We also learn to see our kids differently and how to speak to them in a way that they can actually hear without the constant fighting and dictator type behavior. We change patterns that have possibly been in our families for generations. We become the happy, problem-solving parents and people we hope our kids will grow up to be. Because you can't teach what you don't have. You got to do it first, guys. The doors are officially open and we're enrolling for the Mastermind Parenting Membership February cohort group. So if you're ready to get the coaching, support, training, resources, and accountability you deserve to finally take your family from surviving to thriving, I want you to join the mastermind. Go to mastermindparenting.com/February and apply for the mastermind. There's an option to book a free call with Lindsay, Lindsey, on my team if you want all the deets to determine whether the mastermind would be a good fit for you. It's mastermindparenting.com/February. Giant things are happening in the mastermind. So if you've been a podcast listener for a while and you are ready to have some accountability and experience a community like you have never, ever been involved in, then come apply for the mastermind. Hi guys, how are you this week? I hope you're doing well. In this week's podcast, I have a really short clip from a Facebook Live free training that I did, which is all about when your kid is experiencing upset or disappointment. And really, the best thing that you can do during these moments, and I promise you, it's most likely the thing that you're not doing. I know that's the case for me. This has been probably one of my biggest parenting struggles, the thing that I talk about here, which hint, it's about talking less and listening more. But I think you guys will find this short and sweet episode really helpful. So enjoy. Hi, guys. I have been making y'all some free trainings for the last couple of weeks. And over Thanksgiving, I made it about the tool that I call the Q-tips. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. The second one was all about seeing someone else's perspective, and I told a story about me freaking out at a hotel and getting woken up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And this is all building up to something, but you'll have to wait to see what it is. And the third one I want to talk about today is all about when your kid experiences upset or disappointment, what we typically do and why it's the wrong thing and what to do instead. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Randy Rubenstein. I'm the founder of Mastermind Parenting, and I have a podcast, the Mastermind Parenting Podcast. I wrote a book called The Parent Gap. And you should definitely check out the podcast and read the book. I'll put a link to the book, a free copy of the audiobook, in the comments below if you want to check that out. Okay, so what do we typically do when our kids are upset? My daughter just had a disappointing experience happen to her. It happens in life where you don't make the team, or you don't get into the college that you want, or you get dumped by the friend and you don't know why. And so often when people we love experience upset, it is painful and it's hard for us to sit with them in that disappointment, in those negative emotions. It's upsetting to us, right? It's upsetting to us. What do we want? What does every parent typically say when you say, like, what do you want for your kids? They're like, I just want them to be happy. I want them to live a life of opportunity. I want them to be successful, because ultimately I just want them to be happy. We want them to be happy. So when they show up and they're not happy, like, we get really uncomfortable. And what our typical go-to strategy, without even thinking about it, is we want to happy them up. We want to talk them out of that upset. We want to make their negative emotions go away. We want to take it away, right? And so, you do this with the people you love. You also do it, like, if somebody, like, had somebody die or experience some kind of upset or disappointment. A lot of times you want to quickly get to the silver lining wisdom. You want to tell someone everything happens for a reason, or if, like, somebody died, you're like, oh, how old were they? Because you want to get to they lived a long, beautiful life. No, it's upsetting when someone you love dies. No matter how old they are, it's still upsetting. There's still a grieving process that happens. So we quite often, we want to, like, tie it up in a nice, neat little bow. We want to say things happen for a reason. We want to talk about the bigger lesson. We want to move that person through the grieving or the upset or the disappointment more quickly than they probably want to be moved through it. And so that's the wrong thing to do. The thing to do is, I want y'all to imagine, like I'm holding my phone, so, like, duct taping your lips. The best thing you can do is to do what a lot of people call hold space. You just sort of get quiet and you literally say almost nothing. If you have to say something, you do what therapists do, which is active listening, and that's kind of like the technical term for it. But don't say, like, how does that make you feel, like a therapist would. You're just going to sort of, like, mirror whatever they say. So if they are talking and you're like, if it's a kid that didn't get into the college they wanted, then you're like, ugh, sucks. Because it does. That's how they feel. It sucks. It sucks to get a rejection letter. Your kid that falls down and hurts themselves, and they come over to you and you want to go, you're okay, which is silver lining it. You want to say, you're okay. No, they're not okay. Instead, it's like, oh, and they're like, it hurts. You're like, it hurts. That's mirroring. Ow, it hurts. It really hurts. Okay, that's mirroring. And you can just give a hug. You can just hold space. You can just get quiet. You can just let them know you're there. You can allow them to sit with that upset and disappointment, because really no one wants to be happied up when they're going through it. They just want to know that you're there for them. Like, sitting and just holding space for someone and being there with them with the negative emotion, which is super uncomfortable for us, is extremely unselfish. It's actually quite selfish to try and happy them up, to try and move them from that state to the next state. Like, allow them to just be human and have the process to be upset. And when you do that, it's super generous. The other person feels it. They feel seen, heard, valued, appreciated, loved. It's a beautiful thing. So that's my tip for today. Literally, what is it? S.t.f.u. When someone you love is going through upset, the best thing you can do is to be there with them and say very little, and just be there with them in their upset. Just be quiet. Just hold space. Just show up in a supportive way. So that's what I've got. And I will put in the comments below, I'll put a link to my book if you want to download a free copy. Okay, you guys have a great weekend. Bye. Have you read my book, The Parent Gap? Have you listened to my book, The Parent Gap? I doubt you've listened because my publisher hasn't released it yet on Audible. However, I have the audio version of The Parent Gap that I would love to send to you. You can download it at mastermindparenting.com/book. That's mastermindparenting.com/book for your free audio version of The Parent Gap. You're welcome. Bye.